I always thought my husband Ben would never leave me. He was dependable, gentle, and endlessly accommodating. Over the years, his love and patience became the foundation of our relationship. Also, I thought, I never realized how much pressure that foundation was under until the night it finally cracked. We had been married for 5 years, and in those years, Ben had always put me first. He worked hard, took care of the house, and supported me in every way imaginable. At first, I appreciated it, I truly did. But over time, I started to see him differently. He didn't challenge me, he didn't argue, he was just there. Somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that I wanted more excitement, more passion. I started spending more time with my friends, people who were louder, more spontaneous, and frankly, more reckless. They encouraged me to complain about Ben, to poke fun at his predictability. He's too perfect, they'd say. Don't you get bored? I started laughing along with their jokes. At first, it felt harmless. I told myself it was just a bit of fun. Ben didn't mind, I thought. He never said anything, after all. One Saturday, we decided to host a dinner party. It was my idea, and as usual, Ben went along with it without question. He spent the whole day preparing, cleaning the house, cooking the main dishes, even arranging the table settings. I barely lifted a finger. When the guests arrived, the atmosphere was warm and lively. Ben, as always, stayed in the background, making sure everyone was comfortable. I, on the other hand, reveled in the attention, sipping wine and laughing with my friends. At some point, the conversation shifted to relationships. One of my friends, Tina, started joking about how her boyfriend could barely remember to take out the trash. The others chimed in with their own stories, and before long, the spotlight turned to me. Well, Laura doesn't have that problem, Tina said with a smirk. Her husband is basically a saint. What's it like having a man who worships the ground you walk on? The group laughed, and I felt a familiar mix of embarrassment and pride. Oh, you have no idea, I replied, rolling my eyes for dramatic effect. Ben does everything. Honestly, sometimes I think he's too good. He never says no to me. The comments spiraled from there. Fueled by the wine, I found myself exaggerating, painting Ben as a doormat. I could probably tell him to walk on hot coals, and he'd ask if I wanted him to do it barefoot, I joked. The room erupted in laughter. That's when I noticed the silence behind me. I turned to see Ben standing in the doorway, a tray of dessert in his hands. His face was calm, but his eyes were tired. He set the tray down without a word and left the room. For the rest of the evening, he stayed upstairs. I tried to brush it off, but the mood had shifted. My friends didn't say anything, but I could feel their unease. The next morning, I found Ben in the kitchen, making coffee. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual, about last night. I don't want to talk about it, he said quietly. I should have let it go. But instead, I pushed. Ben, it was just a joke. You know I didn't mean anything by it. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something in his expression that I hadn't seen before: disappointment. It's not just last night, Laura, he said. It's everything. The jokes, the way you talk about me to your friends, the way you take me for granted. I've tried to ignore it, to tell myself it didn't matter, because I love you, but I can't do it anymore. I opened my mouth to respond, but no words came out. For the next few days, Ben was distant. He went to work, came home, and barely spoke to me. I told myself it would blow over, that he just needed time to cool off. But then came the neighborhood barbecue. It was a warm summer evening, and most of the community had gathered at our neighbor's house. Ben and I arrived together, but as usual, he stayed on the sidelines while I mingled with my friends. As the night went on, the conversation again turned to relationships, and once again I found myself the center of attention. Ben is just the sweetest, one of the neighbors said. You're so lucky, Laura. Lucky, I scoffed, the wine loosening my tongue. Sure, if you like a husband who never argues and does whatever you say. Honestly, it's like living with a robot sometimes. The laughter was immediate and loud. I felt a rush of validation, but it was short-lived. I turned and saw Ben standing a few feet away, his face pale and expressionless. He walked over, his eyes meeting mine. We need to talk, he said. The crowd fell silent as I followed him to a quieter corner of the yard. I'm done, Laura, he said. I've tried to make this work, but I can't do it anymore. You don't respect me, and I can't keep living like this. What are you saying? I asked, my voice shaking. I'm saying it's over, he replied. I'm leaving. Before I could respond, he turned and walked away. That night, Ben packed a bag and left. He didn't yell, didn't slam the door, he just left. Now, as I sit alone in our quiet house, I'm forced to confront the truth. I took Ben's love for granted. I mistook his kindness for weakness. And now I've lost the one person who truly cared about me. Thank you for watching. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful tales like this one. Remember to cherish those who truly care for you. Until next time on Story Void.